This video is going to show how to configure settings for copper pouring or component placement with X AI and OrCAD X. While constraints and design rule checks can be used to prevent errors during placement or routing, settings can be defined to improve X AI results, providing guidelines for component placement, manufacturing requirements, and more. Start by opening the provided design in OrCAD X. To open the X AI panel, select Tools, X AI from the menu. The X AI panel can be docked to OrCAD X or undocked and moved anywhere in the canvas. Select Login and enter your Cadence username and password. The X AI main window opens. Here you can select the workspace to use or create a new one. Select Create New Workspace at the top of the Workspaces panel. Enter a name for the new workspace and click the checkmark button to create it. The main workspace window opens, showing all available settings to configure the board for X AI. Select Upload Board to upload the currently loaded board to the X AI server. Before running the placement or copper pour procedure, ensure component classes and power and ground layers are configured properly. Select Set Up Component Classes to define unassigned component classes. The component classes list opens with a warning message that reference designator Q is present on the board but not assigned to any class. Add bar Q dot asterisk to the IC field to classify transistors as ICs. Click Save to save the changes and return to the main X AI window. Now let's define which components can be placed on the top and bottom layers. Select Class Layer Placement to configure class layer placement rules. The Place Component Classes on Layer subpanel opens. Each class can be set to be placed on the top, bottom, or either layer. For this example, set the IC placement to top, the discrete placement to both, the connector placement to top, the crystal placement to top, and the test point placement to bottom. Click Save to save the settings and return to the main X AI panel. Next, we can define component spacing for X AI placement. Select Class-to-Class Spacing in the X AI window. To set all spacing values at once, enter the desired spacing for the default clearance. Select Autofill Classes to fill the table with all available spacing pairs. Select Apply Default Clearance to apply the defined default clearance to each pair. Click Save to save the settings and return to the main X AI window. To define room placement settings, select Room Placement in the X AI window. A table of rooms available in the design is shown. Here you can configure which rooms are used and which layers are allowed. Check the option for Enable for all rooms and set the layer to both. To ignore room placement for a given design, uncheck the option for Enable. Click Save to save the settings and return to the main window. Finally, let's define the power and ground placement rules for copper planes. Select Power and Ground Setup. The Power and Ground Setup table opens. For this design, power and ground net voltages have already been assigned and are listed in the voltage row. A prompt is shown saying that power and ground settings were pre-populated from the design. Click OK to close the prompt. Check the options for all layers except the ground layer for all power nets, which are indicated in red. Check the option for the ground layer for the ground net. This will allow the ground plane to fill the entire ground layer and mix multiple planes on the other layers. Click Save to save the settings and return to the main X AI window. All settings have been saved and the placement or pour is ready to be run. Quickly and easily configure spacing, rooms, and component class settings to ensure AI will return results that meet your design and functionality criteria with X AI and OrCAD X. For more tutorials, visit us at resources.ema-eda.com and don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel.